episode 334 of Late Night Linux. I'm Joe, and with me are Phelan.
How's it going?
Graham.
Good evening.
And Will.
Hello.
I thought we'd do something different. The Wheel of Misfortune. I'm sure we did something similar to this for our live show that we streamed during COVID. But the basics of this are, we've got a big list of things, words that are Linux and open sourcey mostly, with a few surprises. And there's a thing, wheelofnames.com, where you just paste them all in, and then I can click to spin the wheel, and then it will land on something. So we're all going to take turns. You each get a word or a thing, and you have to say more positive things about it than negative things. Originally, I was going to say, for every negative thing you say, you have to say 2 positive things, and you have to say at least one thing about it. But no dodging it. If you've got negative feelings, you've got to be genuine about it, but then you've also got to come up with positive things. Anyway, this will all make sense once I click to spin the wheel. Through the magic of Jitsi, we're all watching it, so are we all ready?
Ready.
I'm ready. Have we got sound effects?
Okay, well, Will is going first, so let's click to spin the wheel. And it is KDE.
Be careful, Will.
Oh,
I'd say that's a no.
No, it's Gnome.
It's ticked over into Gnome at the last second, so
Take a screenshot.
it's right on the cusp. Right, so Will, say some things about Gnome.
Gnome was the first desktop that I actually liked, and I'm still running it now. I've gone via XFCE and via Mac for a very brief amount of time, but I'm back on the default Gnome with some extensions, which we talked about at length before, but it still works. They're pushing the boundaries of Wayland, and it's still reliable. It's still pretty nicely laid out, and I'm generally happy with it.
Fail him. Let's spin the wheel for you.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, what are you going to get?
I'm living in trepidation here.
You are getting the Linux Foundation.
So wait, I have to say something positive about the Linux Foundation.
Yes.
They employ some kernel developers. That is the end of my statement. Negatively, what a shower of useless fucking waste of space people with looking for a role to do that they don't really need, and they should just kindly fuck off, because better things could be done with that money. They're self-propagating.
All right, and now you have to say at least one more positive thing then.
They also employ another kernel developer, like Greg Hartman.
Okay.
No, look, I think it's good that there is a face of Linux in inverted commas. I just think this is a face that fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch of the way down.
Okay. Right, Graham, let's spin the wheel for you.
You've got to fix this, haven't you? I know what it's going to land on.
Mozilla!
So I've got Mozilla.
Yep.
Fuck it. They fucked it up. They were never any good to begin with. I mean, Firefox came out of a project of 2 individuals who saw the need of something that was much less resource hungry than Navigator was at the time. And it was a huge success. Phoenix became Firefox, and they seem to have just missed the mission from as long as they've taken ownership over it. The Google deal's a good one, I suppose. Too good a one. That's the negative thing. So now I've got to pay for it in that they're our only hope, Obi-Wan. So I really do wish them the best. I hope they can turn things around. I think they've got some nice branding.
Let's spin the wheel for me then. What are we going to get? Canonical.
Jesus, lucky that you got that, not the other 2.
It is probably good that I got this. So what can I say about Canonical? I would say the leadership of Canonical isn't the best that it could be. That's my negative thing. But positively, Ubuntu is great, and some of the other open source stuff that they do is great and is really helpful, like the LexC and LexD stuff. I know there was some controversy about that, but that is genuinely good open source software, and there's loads of really cool people working for them. So there, few got out of that one.
Far too diplomatic.
Back to you, Will. Libre Office.
Wow. Man, I've got a lot to say. I think LibreOffice, in the same vein as Firefox, is our only hope. People still use desktop Office applications, believe it or not, and LibreOffice is the right one to use. It's an impressive and huge piece of software. It's well managed, it's high quality, and it's still around, and we should be grateful for it.
It's not our only hope, though. We've got OnlyOffice as well, but
Okay.
But it is certainly a good hope. You could have been so much quicker to say the negative thing is it's really boring. The positive thing is it's really boring. There's your hack for that one. Right, Phelim, let's spin the wheel for you.
The fear.
What's it going to land on? Oh, it nearly landed on Chrome, but it landed on Wikipedia.
Hell, dodged a bullet there. Wikipedia. Fuck a bunch of Jimmy Wales and his £2 fucking pledge. Also great that it's pissing off Trump. That's a win in my book. I mean, realistically speaking, yes. Fantastic trove of information, better than any encyclopedia. Everything comes with bias to a certain extent, but it is a self-checking bias that can be updated immediately. I think that's as good as we're going to ever get.
Yep, agreed. Right, Graham, let's spin the wheel for you. What are you going to get? Google.
So, early Google, I think, as we've discussed recently, was generally a force for good. It invested heavily in open source, used open source itself, used Linux itself, and really legitimized, I think, the use of Linux at scale, which has become the future, the present and the future of Linux. We've covered the negatives before, so I don't want to bore everyone with it and then have to say something extra positive. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you could just say they're Google. That sort of sums it up, doesn't it?
Google it.
Is it me next? I think it's me next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, Valve. Nearly landed on Chrome again, but Valve, right. Well, negatively, I don't like that Steam is proprietary. I get why, but it would be great if it was completely open source. I think that's completely unrealistic, but there we go. Positively, I mean, the Steam Deck, they've sold millions of devices running Linux. That has got to be a huge positive. And all of the work they've done on Proton, they have seriously contributed to open source. And a third thing, contributing to KDE and employing people who work on it. So there you go. That's very, very easy. So back to Will then. Let's spin the wheel for you. Oh, you went past some contentious ones. And you've landed on WordPress.
WordPress did an enormous amount in the earlier days of the internet to bring blogging to the masses. Everybody was able to write their own blog and style it in a particular way and publish content that could be read by millions of people without having to know how to administer MySQL. And that is a power for good. And in the early days of the internet, where blogging was a massive part of how we shared information with each other, we couldn't have done that in the scale that we did without WordPress. The bad side of that is that now AI is slurping up all of that content and selling it off as its own. And that's a real shame, but too late.
I thought you were just going to say that exact same point for that and all the nonsense on the internet. But anyway.
Yeah, and Mullenweg and everything. But yeah, I suppose let's move on from that then. So, Phelim, it's your turn. What are you going to get? You are going to get... you're getting Linus Torvalds. Okay. It was very nearly ZFS, but you're getting Linus Torvalds.
I like Linus. Linus is cool. Yes, okay, negatively, Linus was a very antisocial geek / very poor communication skills, but equally, in a plus, communication skills to kick people into line to get a project like this going for so many people. It's across everywhere. I mean, Jesus, come on. The guy's good. He does his job well. He's not perfect. No one is. Keep doing it.
Yeah, and Git, of course, as well, as we mentioned recently. Right then. So it's Graham's turn. What's it going to be? It's going to be Emacs.
Fucking hell. That is funny.
What do you say about it? Fuck off.
Okay. Negatively, I've just never been able to get on with it. It's just unintuitive to me. I don't know if it's built for people with a certain way of thinking.
It's written in Lisp.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't get it, and I guess I understand why people react so harshly to Arch users, because that's how I feel when somebody tells me they use Emacs. However, it was the first text editor I think I might have used after Ed on the Amiga, because you got a version called Micro Emacs on the Amiga, which was pretty incredible to have a fully fledged editor like that on the Amiga.
So spinning the wheel for me it is now, isn't it, again? The cloud. Okay, the cloud.
Get stuck in.
This is very easy. The negative is it costs loads of money and is somewhat out of your control. But the positives outweigh that in a lot of circumstances.
Shut up.
If you need elasticity, if you need scaling up and down, it's brilliant for that. If you don't have the money to build your own infrastructure, you can just build it on the cloud, and you don't have to get locked in if you don't want to. If you are careful about how you do it, you can use cloud-like technologies, which can then be brought on-prem later on when you've got the capital to build out your own infrastructure. So all positive apart from the cost, as far as I'm concerned.
Stop shitting for big evaporated water.
Okay, this episode is sponsored by Porkbun.com. Porkbun was named the #1 domain registrar from 2023 to 2025 by USA Today and is refreshingly different from the big name players. They're proud to offer at-cost, no markup prices on hundreds of different domain extensions, plus powerful hosting options and incredible support. They've got everything you need from .com domains to specialist ones like .pro, .dev, and .xyz. Every domain name at Porkbun comes with tons of freebies like SSL certificates, Whois privacy, DNS, URL forwarding, and hosting trials, because why pay for things that should be free, right? All of these features and tools are backed by incredible support 365 days a year from real humans. And if you do a quick search, you'll see that Porkbun has thousands of 5-star reviews from actual customers. So support the show and go to porkbun.com/LNL25 to get $1 off your next domain name from Porkbun and see why they are the best domain name registrar around. That's porkbun.com/LNL25. All right, back to Will then, spinning the wheel. And you have got, Ubuntu.
Careful now.
Well, I have only good things to say about the Ubuntu distribution. It democratized access to Linux. It gave away free CDs to millions of people. It made, in my opinion, made Linux a household name, if you can call it that. Without Ubuntu, we wouldn't be where we are today. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Yeah, snaps though, innit? Anyway, moving on. Phelim, what are you going to get? You are going to get Red Hat.
It's a fit.
I'd thought about this. There's very easy answers to this one, but you go for it.
Right, positive. They funded a lot of open source projects, obviously. They employ an awful lot of developers. They do generally neutral stuff, kind of. Badly, they are now owned by IBM. I should just probably stop right there, but I'm going to say they also have a bit of a not invented here thing where they sort of do their own thing and then have the water cooler discussions, and then sucks to be outside that bubble.
You could have just said IBM on the negative, and they employ some real good eggs like Husey and Matthew Miller. There you go. That's what I was going to say if this had come up for me.
Well, good for you.
Yes. Right, Graham, what's it going to be for you? ZFS.
The man with the CentOS 6 install has to talk about ZFS.
You know, I don't think about it too much. I guess it's the next generation of file systems, and it solves a lot of problems. And I don't know what you would talk about in 2.5 admins if it wasn't for ZFS.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's fair enough then. Well, so it's back to me then, isn't it? So what am I going to get? Android.
Ooh.
Well, it is increasingly not open source and requires the Google shit to actually work. There's my one negative thing. I could say a lot of negative things. Positive things, it's customizable. It's not like iOS where you're just stuck with one shell, effectively one interface. You can install whatever you want on it. That's kind of an Achilles heel as well. And also, you can get a cool foldable phone running Android, and you can't with iOS.
How's it doing, Joe? Has it broken yet?
No, it's doing just fine. Thank you very much.
All right.
Right, so back to Will spinning the wheel. We have got apt.
Oh, Jesus.
Remember when you had to use RPM and then you didn't have to use RPM anymore because apt came along or existed all along, and then you moved over to Debian and started using it? Everything about apt was so much better than dependency hell. It resolved that in a single go, and it just makes so much difference and so much easier to use, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Right, Phelim, you've got DNF. It's almost like this is a fix, but it's genuinely not.
Did not finish in a Formula 1. Is that what we're talking about here? Because that's all I know about. I didn't even know DNF really worked, to be quite honest, because I used Fedora last week to try out the KDE spin, and I didn't even know it was not Yum or RPM. So I think I'm not even remotely qualified. Do you know what the biggest downside of DNF is? It's not apt.
We've got to say something positive. Go on.
It's not tarballs. There you go.
Well, I would have said that it's as intuitive as apt, pretty much. All right. So Graham is next, and you are getting a nice, easy one, Debian.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's basically everything that Will said about Ubuntu brought forward 5 or 10 years.
Fair enough. Yeah. And it's almost like this is a fix.
Bullshit.
I have got XFCE.
Fuck off.
Well, screen tearing. It looks like shit.
Keep going.
Your icons disappear on your launcher, your quick launch thing.
GTK -2.
That's a positive.
The new versions come along and nothing's changed hardly. No, obviously, it is lightweight. It's got enough features for me.
It's a black wallpaper, yeah?
Yeah, it's the best desktop without question. So I'm not going to entertain any arguments on that one. So we're back to Will then, and you've got Arch.
Oh, boy.
Have you ever actually used Arch?
Probably for about 20 minutes. And it's fine. Once you get it installed and working, it's fine. The benefit, of course, is that all of those packages are that much fresher. And if you look around the internet now, that's what everybody wants now is those bleeding edge packages, for which Arch is superb. The other positive is the wiki, which is absolutely the best technical resource on the internet, in my opinion. Downside is it's still a bit complex, and it's got that sort of cliquey kind of, by the way, crowd.
Yeah. All right. Fail him. What are you going to get next? I hope you get... Oh, no, Gnome's gone, hasn't it? So let's have a look at what you're going to get. Oh, yes. Here we go. Facebook/Meta.
Positive.
There's literally nothing, is there?
I genuinely can't say anything positive about them. The guy in charge of it is an absolute piece of lying shit. Again and again and again and again. I guess it proves in a positive that you could turn anything positive into negative. That's what Facebook does. Fuck those guys. Fuck them all.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Right, Graham, what are you going to get then as we spin the wheel? There's not that many things left now. Okay, you are going to get Raspberry Pi.
I honestly think this is a positive one. I think it is very similar to Ubuntu and Debian. I think it's brought Linux to the small form factor computers, lots of schools, education, the whole kind of Pi roadshows they have going alongside them and have had for years now. I know that we're kind of in the middle age of Raspberry Pi and it's having a bit of an identity crisis, but I think for the majority of its life, it's been a force for good.
Okay, I'm going to bite my tongue on that one.
Yeah.
So
I do. I think it's had a cultural impact on computers and tech, especially in the UK.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, what am I going to get for this one?
Why
then?
is N100 not on here, Joe?
Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, okay. KDE. KDE.
I know where you fucking live.
Okay. The KDE Plasma desktop is too complicated and too configurable. There is my negative.
Bullshit.
The positive is that the people working on it seem to be really, really cool. So there's one obvious positive. And also, you've got the whole ecosystem of apps and everything, which is great. And development seems to happen at a really fast clip, which I suppose could go either way. But generally speaking, they add features all the time. And it also gives us something to talk about when we've got nothing else. I'll just say, right, you're allowed to do KDE Corner for him. So there we are.
Fair enough.
All right, then. Back to Will. What are you going to get?
Oh, God.
Oh, this is a fix. GitHub, you're going to be positive about these pricks.
I am going to be positive about them. And as we alluded to a couple of weeks ago, they are the de facto choice. They may not be the open choice, but they took over the mantle from places like SourceForge, which were just rotting and nobody gave a shit anymore. Then GitHub came along and suddenly it's cool to host your code again.
Until Microsoft bought it.
Yeah, well, let's just not stew on that one. So Phelim is next. Oh, you are getting the Steam Deck. You're the one person who doesn't have one.
Yeah. The negative of the Steam Deck is the fact I actually don't have one and I don't have the money to waste on it. Yeah, I don't know what you could say negative against it. I mean, really, come on. Positive-wise, excellent. The way Valve included everybody in it, KDE, they hired devs, they didn't hire their own guys and do the not invented here. They got the, who are the other guys? Starts with a C.
Collabora.
Yeah, Collabora, and they got Wine, and they got them all involved. They worked on drivers and stuff together. That's how open source should be done. It's benefiting everybody.
Yep, agreed. All right. Graham, what are you going to get then? You are going to get rolling releases.
What do you run, Graham?
Well, I mean, they were such a refreshing change. I hadn't considered that you could do distributions in this way. I was just kind of locked in the mindset that you had to wait 6 months or a year, or you would hack your own installation or build something. And kind of rolling releases felt like a guilty pleasure that you could always have the latest things installed all the time or whenever you ran Pac-Man. Of course, it introduced its own problems, but generally they were a good and interesting challenge to the more cadent releases.
All right, so what am I going to get then? There's not much left now. Oh, God, that was Vim. It went over, but thankfully Nano. Right, well, Nano, it's simple, easy to use, and full-featured enough. It's the XFCE of text editors. There you go. That's all I have to say about that. All right, then, back to Will as we spin the wheel. You are going to get Chrome.
Oh, a tricky one. I do remember the time when Chrome was faster and better than all of the other browsers, but those days are long gone. And in fact, today, when I loaded Chrome into my personal profile for the first time in a long time, it told me that I had to uninstall AdBlock. And so I'm glad to be rid of it.
Right. I think that will do for that one then. Right. Phelim, what are you going to get? Go on, let's... Oh, are you going to... Oh, you're getting Donald Trump.
Well. If ever there was a thing to prove that you didn't have to succeed, you didn't have to run a business properly 6 times, you didn't have to be a nice person, you didn't have to be faithful to your family, there's that chance that you too could be a Trump.
All you have to do is be born rich, is the lesson here.
The positives are it helped us all realize that we should do our own thing.
Okay, this episode is sponsored by Tailscale. Go to tailscale.com/LNL. Tailscale is a proper VPN for connecting your devices and infrastructure together, not something that's marketed at people watching foreign streaming services or who want to hide their browsing habits from coffee shop staff. It's the easiest way to connect devices and services to each other wherever they are. PCs and laptops, servers, cloud instances, 3D printers, network storage. Connect anything and everything you want, wherever it is, and get started in minutes. Tailscale's personal plan will always be free, and you get up to 100 devices and 3 users for free with no credit card required. The free personal plan is enough for me to send my offsite backups to my parents' house and to get into my LAN while I'm out and about. But what gave me the confidence to start relying on Tailscale was their straightforward business model. If you want to use Tailscale at an industrial scale, with more users and devices, or take advantage of features like MDM policies, auditing, network flow logging, and priority support, you can join over 10,000 companies as a paying customer. So support the show and go to tailscale.com/LNL and try Tailscale out at home or at work today. That's tailscale.com/LNL. So, Graham, you've got Brexit.
Do you know about Brexit, Graham?
So I do have one positive for Brexit, and it's Schadenfreude.
I was wondering how you're going to pull that one off, to be quite honest.
Well, we had plenty of Brexit benefits that are just complete lies.
Pork markets.
Okay, then. So, on to me, then. What am I going to get? Am I going to get a controversial one? I am going to get Linux Mint.
You love it.
Yeah, I do quite like Mint. I have found myself not using that laptop very much lately, but I think that's because the screen is a bit dim on it. I don't think it's to do with Mint, but I haven't installed it on anything else. I think the positives are that the defaults are really sensible and it all just works really well with Very little setup. I suppose the negative is, why not just use Ubuntu and configure it yourself? Just do the little bit of work up front rather than have them do it. Add your own polish rather than theirs. All right, back to Will then. You are going to get Fedora.
This is a really tricky one because I've used it so little. I've installed it. It works. Great.
All right. I think that would be unfair to try and get more out of you as you've really never used it, hardly at all. All right, Phelim, you are going to get... Oh, I thought you were going to get Musk there, but no, you're going to get Blender.
I think the only negative here is that it runs on Windows. Fuck those guys. They don't need it.
They don't deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Screw them all. I genuinely can't think of a negative, to be quite honest.
It's too complicated. Come on. It's like you open it up and you're just like, what the fuck?
They're rendering 3D images and doing 3D cartooning. I don't think that gets easier. So
yes.
I will allow them that. I think it is possibly one of the best FOSS projects going. Yes, it started life as a closed source, but the company at least sold it on, and wow, has it grown since, and has an Oscar.
Yep.
Come on.
All right, Graham, what are you going to get? Oh, come on. Home Assistant.
Well, we've talked about it so much, but it's an amazing project, and I'm really grateful to the people that put it all together for giving us like an integrated home automation system. It's complicated, and I don't like they're basing it on Docker, so I've got to say something else positive. I think their design is great. Well done.
And the voice thing, I think, is really cool as well.
Yeah.
Right then, what am I going to get? I am going to get Firefox. Well, Firefox, the product itself, the piece of software is amazing. It is the best browser. It does everything I need it to do. Got loads of great extensions and all the rest of it. The only negative is Mozilla are a bit fucking clueless. So there you go. Nice and simple. Back to you, Will. You are going to get lightweight distros.
The single board computer market really exploded after Raspberry Pi came on the scene, and they had a definite need for these kind of small, cut down Linux distros. And things like TV sticks and video players and game emulators all benefit massively from these tiny cut down Linux distros. So that sort of commercial commodity based Linux is a huge part of the overall ecosystem, and we're better off to have them.
Right then. So Phelim, what's coming up for you?
Oh, God.
You are going to get Git.
I guess the negative of Git is it's not SVN.
Isn't that also the positive?
That is also the positive. And yes, it is. Thank fuck that is not a proprietary thing. FOSS leading the way, like always.
All right, Graham, it's coming round. It's coming round.
Ooh,
you're getting x86.
Well, I have to say, at the heart of the PC-AT and IBM letting those patents slip really have led to the computer revolution that we're still enjoying.
Yeah. All right. Am I going to get ARM? Because that's also on the list. There's really not many left now. Oh, it's going. Oh, no. Oh, no. I get generative AI. There's nothing positive. Someone else got away with the nothing positive, and I'm saying it. Fuck generative AI, quite frankly. Even if it is helpful and useful, at what cost is what I always say. Environmental concerns, ethical concerns about the training data, ethical concerns about fucking up people's servers, scraping it. Nothing positive about generative AI. It can fuck right off. Will, you are going to get GIMP. This is very easy, this one.
It's definitely the most complicated way of drawing triangles ever invented.
Right, and something positive?
Isn't that positive? Positive. It's a Swiss Army knife of image editing. Once you invest probably 6 months of your life in learning how to use the tools, you can do all of those impressive cut and paste Photoshop style edits that you see on the internet. You can do those in GIMP. You just have to learn how to do it, and that's hard.
Right. I mean, you could have just said the name as well, but there we go. All right. Moving on to Phelim, what are you going to get? I hope you get Musk. It looks like you're going to get Mastodon / the Fediverse.
The downside is it's federated, and it depends on your instance how it all goes and what happens and politics, etc., etc. The bonus is the fact that it's federated, and you can move off there even though you've liked where you were, you didn't have time, but you're somewhere else, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And it was easy.
All right, Graham. You are going to get Vim.
Lots of good things to say about Vim because I've used it for years, but what I like is that I still have a lot to learn, and so it's a bit like trying to practice the Rubik's Cube while I'm actually doing work.
Fair enough. All right, there's not many left. There's 4 left now. So I am getting ARM. So ARM, obviously, the benefits are battery life and power usage generally. The negative is just obvious as well, isn't it? That it's compatibility compared to something like x86. It's a lot harder work to port your software to it.
No, it's not.
Maybe not your software, but your operating system to run on it, let's just say.
You have a project needs updating? Will is going to give you free time to port it to ARM.
Yeah, you can make Linux work on the very, very latest ARM Macs. All right, back to Will. There's only 3. And what you're going to get? You've got Elon Musk.
Oh, you jammy bastards. Fucking get the boot in. Go on.
Okay, well, a positive thing would be that I think he's increased the popularity of electric cars. Well, when he started out, he increased the popularity of electric cars. He showed it as a future mechanism of transport, which people had really not thought about before. So I think he deserves credit for that. On the downside, though, he is a cunt.
Right, so if that leaves failing with Microsoft.
Positives for Microsoft. Oh, gee, I guess they...
You literally can't, can you? This has broken your brain.
I can't do it.
All right, well, we don't need to spin because there's only one thing left, and that is LTSs. So, Graham, LTSs.
Oh, well, I think they kind of changed the Linux landscape in offering 2 and then 4-year support and God knows what support now. The fact that you can run the same operating system for almost half a generation is pretty incredible. And yeah, foundation of Linux success.
Well, that was the last thing on the wheel, and so we should probably get out of here then. We'll be back next week when who knows what it'll be. But until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Phelim and hopefully haven't died in a plane crash.
I've not been Elon.
And I've been Will.
See you later.